An effective investigation requires a methodical, structured approach to information gathering, collation, and analysis. The findings of the investigation will form the basis of an action plan to prevent the accident or incident from happening again and for improving your overall management of risk. Your findings will also point to areas of your risk assessments that need to be reviewed. This link with risk assessments is a legal duty. This training session will help you to adopt a systematic approach to determining why an accident or incident has occurred and the steps you need to take to make sure it doesn't happen again. Hello and welcome. Today I'm discussing about the accident investigation process. You are on the platform of Safety First and I'm your host Javed. If you are new on this channel, kindly subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment and share with your friends. Dear friends and fellows, the International Labour Organization estimates that some 2.3 million women and men around the world succumb to work-related accidents or diseases every year. This corresponds to over 6,000 deaths every single day. There are around 340 million occupational accidents and 160 million victims of work-related illnesses annually. Diseases related to work cause the most deaths among workers. Hazardous substances alone are estimated to cause 651,279 deaths every year. 38.8 million estimated working days lost due to work-related ill health and non-fatal workplace injuries alone in United Kingdom in 2019-2020. It is also, according to the International Labour Organization report, some 600,000 lives would be saved every year if available safety practices and appropriate information were used. Every year, 250 million accidents occur, causing absence from work, the equivalent of 685,000 accidents every day, 475 every minute, and 8 every second. How drastic the figures are. 8 accidents in every single second around the globe. Working children suffer 12 million occupational accidents and an estimated 12,000 of them are fatal. 3,000 people are killed by work every day and 2 every minute. Asbestos alone kills more than 100,000 workers every year. If you think safety is expensive, then try an accident at your workplace. There are good financial reasons for reducing accidents and ill health. For every $1 a business spends on insurance, it can be losing between $8 to $36 in uninsured costs. The same accidents happen again and again, causing suffering and distress to an ever-widening circle of workers and their families. The investigation and analysis of work-related accidents and incidents forms an essential part of managing health and safety. However, learning the lessons from what you uncover is at the heart of preventing accidents and incidents. Identify what is wrong and take positive steps to put it right. Dear friends and fellows, carrying out your own health and safety investigations will provide you with a deeper understanding of the risks associated with your work activities. Blaming individuals is ultimately fruitless and sustains the myth that accidents and cases of ill health are unavoidable when the opposite is true. Well thought out risk control measures combined with adequate supervision, monitoring, and effective management. Your risk management system will ensure that your work activities are safe. Health and safety investigations are an important tool in developing and refining your risk management system. Prior to go deeper, let us understand the language of investigation, the common words and terms those are using commonly during the investigation process. An important term is adverse event. Adverse event includes accident, an event that results in injury or ill health, an incident, a near miss, an event that while not causing harm has the potential to cause injury or ill health. Undesired circumstances, a set of conditions or circumstances that have the potential to cause injury or ill health. For example, untrained nurses handling heavy patients, near misses, accidents, incidents, or undesired circumstances. It all includes in adverse event. These are the parts of adverse event. These are the subcategories of an adverse event. If you are interested to learn about accident, near miss, and incident, please click on the link that is appearing on your screen. Dangerous occurrence is also an adverse event, one of the number of specific reportable adverse events as defined in the reporting of injuries, diseases, and dangerous occurrences regulations 1995. Reader, if you are interested to know all about the dangerous occurrences, please click on the link that is appearing on your screen. You will find all the categories, those are included as per the Reader 1995 as dangerous occurrences. One another term that is hazard is commonly used during an accident investigation. What is hazard? The potential to cause harm, including ill health and injury, damage to property, plant, products, or the environment, production losses, or increased liabilities. If you are interested to know about hazard, I will include the link in the description. You can click on the link. You can easily know about hazard versus risk. What is the relationship between a hazard and the risk with examples and different scenarios during the accident investigation. Another two words, consequence and likelihood, are commonly used. In the consequences, there are few terms like fatal, major injury, ill health, minor injury, or damage only. Let us discuss one by one. What is the meaning of fatal? Fatal means work-related death. What is a major injury or ill health? It includes fractures other than fingers or toes, amputations, loss of sight, a burn or penetrating injury to the eye, any injury or acute illness resulting in unconsciousness, requiring resuscitation or requiring admittance to hospital for more than 24 hours. Serious injury, ill health, where the person affected is unfit to carry out his or her normal work for more than 3 consecutive days. All includes in the category of major injury or ill health. Let us look what is minor injury. All other injuries where the injured person is unfit for his or her normal work for less than 3 days. What is the meaning of the term damage only? Damage only means damage to property, equipment, the environment, or production losses. Another important term that is used frequently during the accident investigation process, during reporting the accident, is likelihood or the probability. Likelihood or probability means that an adverse event will happen again. There are five categories: certain, likely, possible, unlikely, and rare. What is the meaning of certain? Certain means it will happen again and soon. Grading is 5. Likely. Likely means it will reoccur, but not as an everyday event. Categorized with the marking of 4. Possible. It may occur from time to time. It is graded as 3. Unlikely. It is not expected to happen again in the foreseeable future. Category 2. Rare. So unlikely that it is not expected to happen again. Marking is 1. 1 means low risk and certain means very high risk. If you are interested to learn the difference between likelihood and the consequences, please click on the link that is appearing on your screen. Another important term, risk and risk control measures, are the basic part of accident investigation process. Adverse events have many causes. What may appear to be bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, can, on analysis, be seen as a chain of failures and errors that lead almost inevitably to the adverse event. These causes can be classified as immediate causes, underlying causes, and root causes. Let us discuss one by one. What are the meanings of immediate causes? The agent of injury or ill health, the blade, the substance, the chemical, the dust, etc., that cause the injury, that cause the incident, that is immediate cause. What are underlying causes? Unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. The guard removed, the ventilation switched off. These are the examples of underlying causes. What are root causes? The failure from which all other failings grow, often remote in time and space from the adverse event. For example, failure to identify training needs and assess competence, low priority given to risk assessment, etc. These are the examples of root causes. To prevent adverse events, you need to provide effective risk control measures which address the immediate, underlying, and root causes. Dear friends and fellows, you are watching Safety First, and today we are discussing about accident investigation. Here the question is, why to investigate? There are hazards in all workplaces. Risk control measures are put in place to reduce the risks to an acceptable level to prevent accidents and cases of ill health. Let us discuss now the legal reasons for investigating an accident. To ensure you are operating your organization within the law, the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999, Regulation 5, requires employers to plan, organize, control, monitor, and review their health and safety arrangements. Health and safety investigations form an essential part of this process. You are expected to make full disclosure of the circumstances of an accident to the injured parties considering legal action. The fear of litigation may make you think it is better not to investigate, but you cannot make things better if you don't know what went wrong. The fact that you thoroughly investigated an accident and took remedial action to prevent further accidents would demonstrate to a court that your company has a positive attitude to health and safety. Your investigation findings will also provide essential information for your insurers in the event of a claim. As you understand, Accident investigation is not a choice, it's a legal requirement. Every organization should comply with the legal requirements. If not, it's a crime. The other reasons of accident investigation are an understanding of how and why things went wrong, an understanding of the ways people can be exposed to the substances or conditions that may affect their health, a true snapshot of what really happens and how work is really done. Workers may find shortcuts to make their work easier or quicker and may ignore rules. You need to be aware of this. Identifying deficiencies in your risk control management, which will enable you to improve your management of risk in the future and to learn lessons which will be applicable to other parts of your organization. Dear friends and fellows, let us discuss now the benefits arising from an accident investigation. Benefit number one, the prevention of further similar adverse events. If there is a serious accident, the regulatory authorities will take a firm line if you have ignored previous warnings. Benefit number two, the prevention of business losses due to disruption, stoppage, lost orders, and the cost of criminal and civil legal actions. Benefit number three, an improvement in employee morale and attitude towards health and safety. Employees will be more cooperative in implementing new safety precautions if they were involved in the decision and they can see that problems are dealt with. And benefit number four, the development of managerial skills which can be readily applied to other areas of the organization. While the argument for investigating accidents is fairly clear, the need to investigate near misses and undesired circumstances may not be so obvious. However, investigating near misses and undesired circumstances is as useful and very much easier than investigating accidents. Adverse events where no one has been harmed can be investigated without having to deal with injured people, their families, and a demoralized workforce, and without the threat of criminal and civil action hanging over the whole proceedings. Witnesses will be more likely to be helpful and tell the truth. During the investigation, you have to consider such statements. I mistakenly turned the wrong valve which released the boiling water because the valves are look the same, or I don't know how Jamshed was called it, which is the likely response to a near miss and which to an accident. More importantly, which is the most useful. It is often pure luck that determines whether an undesired circumstance translates into a near miss or accident. The value of investigating each adverse event is the same. An investigation is not an end in itself, but the first step in preventing future adverse events. A good investigation will enable you to learn general lessons which can be applied across your organization. The investigation should identify why the existing risk control measures failed and what improvements or additional measures are needed. More general lessons on why the risk control measures were inadequate must also be learned. After knowing the reasons why the accidents should be investigated, let us understand now which events should be investigated. Having been notified of an adverse event and been given basic information on what happened, you must decide whether it should be investigated and if so, in what depth. It is the potential consequences and the likelihood of the adverse event recurring that should determine the level of investigation, not simply the injury or ill health suffered on this occasion. For example, is the harm likely to be serious? Is this likely to happen often? Similarly, the causes of a near miss can have great potential for causing injury and ill health. When making your decision, you must also consider the potential for learning lessons. For example, if you have had a number of similar adverse events, it may be worth investigating, even if each single event is not worth investigating in isolation. It is best practice to investigate all adverse events which may affect the public. Here the question is, who should carry out the investigation? Most of the time, this question is being asked by the HSE practitioners during their selection, during their interview, during their promotion. For an investigation to be worthwhile, it is essential that the management and the workforce are fully involved. Depending on the level of investigation and the size of the business, supervisors, line managers, health and safety professionals, union safety representatives, employee representatives, and senior management directors may all be involved, as well as being a legal duty. It has been found that where there is full cooperation and consultation with union representatives and employees, the number of accidents is half that of workplaces where there is no such employee involvement. Dear friends and fellows, for an investigation, this joint approach will ensure that a wide range of practical knowledge and experience will be brought to bear, and employees and their representatives will feel empowered and supportive of any remedial measures that are necessary. A joint approach also reinforces the message that the investigation is for the benefit of everyone. In addition to detailed knowledge of the work activities involved, members of the investigation team should be familiar with health and safety good practices, standards, and legal requirements. The investigation team must include people who have the necessary investigative skills, information gathering, interviewing, evaluating, and analyzing. Provide the team with sufficient time and resources to enable them to carry out the investigation efficiently. It is also essential that the investigation team is either led by or reports directly to someone with the authority to make decisions and act on their recommendations. Another question: when should the investigation start? Dear friends and fellows, the urgency of an investigation will depend on the magnitude and immediacy of the risk involved. For example, a major accident involving an everyday job will need to be investigated quickly. In general, adverse events should be investigated and analyzed as soon as possible. This is not simply a good practice, it is common sense. Memory is best and motivation greatest immediately after an adverse event. Another important question: what does it involve? An investigation will involve an analysis of all the information available: physical, the scene of the incident; verbal, the accounts of witnesses; and written, risk assessments, procedures, instructions, and job guides, etc., to identify what went wrong and determine what steps must be taken to prevent the adverse event from happening again. It is important to be open, honest, and objective throughout the investigation process. Preconceived ideas about the process, the equipment, or the people involved in an adverse event may blind you to the real causes. Question everything. Be wary of blaming individuals. Dear friends and fellows, let us learn how to make a good investigation. To get rid of weeds, you must dig up the root. If you only cut off the foliage, the weed will grow again. Similarly, it is only by carrying out investigations which identify root causes that organizations can learn from their past failures and prevent future failures. Simply dealing with the immediate causes of an adverse event may provide a short term solution, but in time, the underlying and root causes that were not addressed will allow conditions to develop where further adverse events are likely, possibly with more serious consequences. It is essential that the immediate, underlying, and root causes are all identified and remedied. Investigations should be conducted with accident prevention in mind, not placing blame. Attempting to apportion blame before the investigation has started is counterproductive because people become defensive and uncooperative. Only after the investigation has been completed is it appropriate to consider whether an individual acted inappropriately. Investigations that conclude that operator error was the sole cause are rarely acceptable. Underpinning the human error, there will be a number of underlying causes that created the environment in which human errors were inevitable. For example, inadequate training and supervision, poor equipment design, lack of management commitment, poor attitude to health and safety. The objective is to establish not only how the adverse event happened, but more importantly, what allowed it to happen. The root causes of adverse events are almost inevitably management, organizational, or planning failures. Let us discuss a small accident. A worker slipped on a patch of oil. Oil was dipped on the floor. What might be the reason of oil dipping or oil spillage on the floor? Possibly because of inadequate maintenance of the forklift. Another reason of worker slipping is inadequate housekeeping. If the oil was leaking and if someone cleaned the floor, there is no chance of worker slipping and injury. Here the question is, why housekeeping was not carried out? The answer is lack of supervision and monitoring. Here the question is, why there was lack of supervision and monitoring? The answer is inadequate health and safety management. Safety is not a priority. Safety department and safety procedures are not effective. Again, the question is, what is the reason why the safety department or the safety procedures or safety management system is not effective? The answer is the senior management is not being committed to health and safety. Dear friends and fellows, this is the way how you can investigate an accident. Very simple, very easy. The investigation should be thorough and structured to avoid bias and leaping to conclusions. Don't assume you know the answer and start finding solutions before you complete the investigation. A good investigation involves a systematic and structured approach. How it can be? By information gathering. Explores all reasonable lines of inquiry. Information gathering is timely. Information gathering is structured, setting out clearly what is known, what is not known, and records the investigative process. Another important aspect is information analysis. You have to make sure the analysis is objective and unbiased. Analysis identifies the sequence of events and conditions that led up the adverse event. Analysis identifies the immediate causes. Analysis identifies underlying causes. For example, actions in the past that have allowed or caused undetected unsafe conditions and practices. Analysis identifies root causes. For example, organizational and management, health and safety arrangements, supervision, monitoring, training, and resources allocated to health and safety, etc. In this way, you can say information gathering and information analysis is an important part of thorough investigation. During the accident investigation, you cannot ignore risk control measures. You have to identify the risk control measures which were missing, inadequate, or unused. Compare conditions and practices as they were with that required by current legal requirements, codes of practices, and safety guidance. Identify additional measures needed to address the immediate, underlying, and root causes. Provide meaningful recommendations which can be implemented, but woolly recommendations, operators must take care not to touch the cutters during rundown. Show that the investigation has not delved deep enough in search of the root causes. For a good accident investigation, action plan and its implementation is mandatory. You have to provide an action plan with smart objectives, specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, and time scale. Ensure that the action plan deals effectively not only with the immediate and underlying causes, but also the root causes. Include lessons that may be applied to prevent other adverse events. For example, assessments of skill and training in competencies may be needed for other areas of the organization. Provide feedback to all parties involved to ensure the findings and recommendations are correct, address the issues, and are realistic. Should be fed back into a review of risk assessment. The approved code of practice attached to the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999. Regulation 3 states that adverse events should be a trigger for reviewing risk assessments. Communicate the results of the investigation and the action plan to everyone who needs to know. Include arrangements to ensure that the action plan is implemented and progress monitored. The last three steps, very important, but often overlooked. Without them, the full benefits of investigation will not be realized, and in the long term, nothing will change. Do you know the techniques for analyzing adverse events? There are many tools and techniques for structuring the investigation, analyzing adverse events, and identifying root causes. HSC doesn't endorse any one method. It is for you to choose which techniques suit your company. These techniques are simply tools, not an end in themselves. For large, complex, or technically demanding investigations, these techniques may be essential in determining not only how the adverse event happened, but also what were the root causes. Dear friends and fellows, let us understand the criteria for the accident investigation. Investigation is required or not. I'll assist you in determining the level of investigation which is appropriate for the adverse event. Remember, you must consider the worst potential consequences of the adverse event. For example, a scaffold collapse may not have caused any injuries, but had the potential to cause major or fatal injuries. Remember, there are four categories of accident investigation. Number one, in a minimal level of investigation, the relevant supervisor will look into the circumstances of the event and try to learn any lessons which will prevent future occurrences. Category number two, a low level accident investigation will involve a short investigation by the relevant supervisor or line manager into the circumstances and immediate underlying and root causes of the adverse event to try to prevent a reoccurrence and to learn any journal lessons. Category number three, a medium level investigation will involve a more detailed investigation by the relevant supervisor or line manager, the health and safety advisor, and employee representatives and will look for the immediate underlying and root causes. Category number four, a high level investigation. It will involve a team based investigation involving supervisors or line managers, health and safety advisors, and employee representatives. It will be carried out under the supervision of senior management or directors and will look for the immediate underlying and root causes. In short, basic level, low level, medium level, and high level. Basic level accident investigation can be headed by the workplace supervisor, and a high level investigation will be supervised by senior management or the directors of the company. Dear friends and fellows, as I told you in the intro, every year people are killed or injured at work. Over 40 million working days are lost annually through work related accidents and illnesses. As a step by step guidance tool, this training will help you how to carry out health and safety investigations. I have already explained why you need to carry out investigations, but basically, accident investigation is a four-step process. Step number one, gathering the information. Step number two, analyzing the information. Step number three, identifying risk control measures. Step number four, the action plan and its implementation. I will go through in every step one by one, and you have to watch four videos for each step separately. These videos will be in English as well as in Hindi and Urdu to give you a better understanding in your native language. But all this will be possible in the upcoming training sessions. That's all for now. Training session is over now. If you have any question, please ask in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and share the video. Hope to see you soon with a new HSC tutorial. Till then, take care. Very good luck and Allah Hafiz.